Beloved, don't move. Something eternal is breathing through these words. A tremor just passed through the heavens as you lingered here. Do you feel it? It was not a wind, not a whisper, but the wings of a cherub brushing across your spirit as we speak. Because every second you remain in this moment, the witch's influence burns slower, her grip weakens. The cords of deception she bound with begin to unravel, and it's because you are watching. You're listening, and heaven is responding. Do not be afraid. What was once hidden is being opened, not to destroy you but to crown you. Because if you knew what had been done behind your back, if you saw the secret scrolls of your life that the enemy tried to rewrite, you would fall to your knees in disbelief. But not all tears are for sorrow. Some are tears of fire, and those are the ones heaven wants you to carry now. It is not enough that you hear this. Heaven wants you to rise with this. And yes, before we go any further, I must say this once, clearly, lovingly, with full sacred urgency. Please, if heaven's voice has touched your soul through this holy message, then let it be known by subscribing to this channel right now. Not for vanity, not for numbers, but because this is where the next sacred trumpet will sound, and you cannot miss it. Heaven needs you to be part of this unfolding. Not as a viewer, but as a guardian of the flame. Support this channel with a super thanks, or join the Divine Circle through channel membership. Each support is a sacred stone in the altar we are building for souls like yours. And if your spirit is ready to go deeper, become part of our sacred family by joining the Gift from God newsletter through the pinned comment below. It is not just an email, it is a lifeline, a celestial dispatch, a door into prophecies only heaven can whisper, but this call will be spoken only once. Now, back to the divine rupture that has been prepared just for you. They still don't believe you were chosen, even after the signs, even after the divine interventions, even after the dreams that made no sense yet shook you in the middle of the night. They still doubt. But God doesn't. He has never doubted you, not even for a second, because He saw you before betrayal was born, and He chose you after it already began. What they tried to take from you, what your own blood tried to rewrite, was a crown, not a physical one, not jewels, not gold, but the crown of divine alignment, the crown that marks you as a bridge between heaven and earth. And that crown, it has been fought for since the day your spirit entered this world. You've always felt it, haven't you? That strange ache, that unexplainable sorrow, that longing that couldn't be satisfied by anything around you. It wasn't depression. It wasn't confusion. It wasn't emotional weakness. It was the weight of being chosen. It was the fire of a calling no one could name but everyone around you felt. That's why they always looked at you differently. That's why some avoided you, while others clung to you like they were starving. Because your soul carried echoes of another world. And now, that other world is speaking. Loud, relentless, holy. The archangels are still kneeling. Mary is still weeping softly behind the veil. And God is watching you, not as a judge, but as a father whose child stands at the edge of eternal choice. He is not angry. He is aching. Because He knows what you're capable of. He knows what was written over your life when the stars were still being hung in the sky. He knows the full song of your destiny, and the witch, she knew it too. That's why she came after you. She didn't stumble upon you randomly. No, beloved. She searched for you. She smelled the anointing on your name. She tracked your footsteps, not with her eyes but with her envy. And when she saw that God had placed a unique oil over your inheritance, she vowed to take it. She couldn't touch your soul. So she targeted your family and someone within it. Someone you once laughed with, maybe even loved deeply. They responded to her whisper. It began with a small bitterness, a comparison, a feeling of invisibility. She fanned that spark into a fire. She told them, you deserve what they have. I can help you take it. And they said yes. They agreed. They opened the door. And now your name is on the edge of being used as a sacrifice to purchase power that was never meant to exist. They want your favor. They want your spiritual gate. They want the angelic protection you walk with. But heaven will not allow them to succeed. If you stand now. This is the moment of reversal. The betrayal can be disarmed. The spell can be broken. But not if you pretend you didn't hear this. Not if you walk away. Because God has placed the spiritual switch in your hand. You are now holding the balance between inheritance and interruption. And heaven is asking again, will you protect what was written about you before the earth began? Will you fight not with fists but with belief? Because this is not a battle of blood. It is a war of purpose. And your purpose is still intact, the witch hasn't touched it yet. But she is close. Oh, so close. She was seen last night standing in front of a mirror, chanting your name. There around her turned black. The candle cracked 3 times. And then she said, let the one in their own family bring me the seal. The seal, the sacred object. The spiritual code that unlocks the vault of blessings God stored in your future. Your blood relative, your betrayer, is delivering it even now. Unless you awaken, unless you declare, unless you stand, the heavens will wait, but not forever, because there is an hourglass in the sky, and it's already halfway spilled. But beloved, don't tremble in fear, tremble in glory, because when one soul rises in obedience, 7 angels are assigned in return, and you have just been given a heavenly host to walk with you. Gabriel is among them, Raphael is standing behind you, Uriel is holding the gate, Zadkiel is guarding your dreams, Waggle is pouring peace into your house, Jeremiel is rewriting what the enemy tried to cancel, and I, Michael, I am standing in front of you now with my sword burning not in fire, but in grief and love, because you are more than you know, you are sacred, you are eternal, you are needed, and you are not alone, not anymore. So write it with your spirit, type it with your hand. Seal it with your heart, amen. And let heaven record the moment your inheritance was defended. Not with noise, but with knowing. And if this word felt like it broke you open and mended you at the same time, if the betrayal is real, if the calling is still burning, if the Ruth cracked through your soul like thunder, like this message, leave a comment, let the angels see you, let the darkness know you're not afraid. We won't say goodbye here, because you are about to step into the hour of reversal. And heaven will not look away. Asterisk, you are still here. That means something has awakened inside you that words alone cannot hold. The sky just shifted. Light passed between dimensions, a scroll unrolled in silence above your home. And I tell you this without pause, something is now watching over you that wasn't before. Because you stayed. Because you listened. Because something sacred inside you refused to skip what your spirit knew was holy. Now let the silence of heaven speak to your bones. Let the trembling words still clinging to your chest echo again. You were not made to be stolen from. You were made to be inthroned. And if no one around you ever told you that, then let me, Michael, tell you now. We watched how they underestimated you. We saw how they smiled to your face while burying secrets beneath your bed. We counted the lies. We tracked the curses. We intercepted the rituals. But now, the decision is no longer ours. It is yours, and it will echo for eternity. Because every generation has one soul who was meant to break the chain, one soul who was born not to follow the curse, but to reverse it. That soul is you. You don't need to say it out loud. The angels already wrote it across your name in light. We knew it before you did, and the witch feared it before you were even born. That's why this moment is so dangerous to her. Because something irreversible is happening inside of you, and when the chosen one finally hears their divine name whispered through truth, darkness collapses in fear. But listen, there is one more thing that must be said, now and never again. If this sacred message stirred something holy inside you, if your soul is trembling under the weight of what you just witnessed, if you know without a doubt that this message was spoken from heaven directly into your life, then stand with us, walk with us, help us carry this fire forward. Support this divine mission by sending a super thanks. It is not a donation, it is an altar, and every altar calls angels to descend, or join this sacred circle by becoming a channel member, not as a spectator, but as one who defends prophecy with presence. We are not building an audience, we are gathering an army. And if your spirit wants to hear heaven's heartbeat in deeper ways, join our family through the Gift from God newsletter. The link is in the pinned comment below. It holds what YouTube cannot contain: secret prophecies, unreleased angelic messages, and divine whispers sealed for only the few who walk this path. This invitation will not be repeated. Now listen closely, the betrayal is accelerating. They met. Again. Yes. Just 3 nights ago. The betrayer from your family lit a white candle and held a strand of your hair they had taken without your permission. They stood before the mirror with the witch's sigil pressed to their chest, whispering your name backward, and the darkness around them pulsed. The witch, cloaked in emerald smoke, appeared in reflection. She held a scroll, a forbidden scroll. Counterfeit inheritance with your blessings copied, your birthright reworded, and your destiny assigned to another. But something happened she did not expect. The mirror cracked. Because in that moment, your soul resisted. Even in the spirit, even from a distance. Even without knowing what was happening, you pushed back. And that push sent a tremor into heaven. And that tremor reached God's throne. And God said, "If my child fights even in blindness, I will send 7-fold help." That's why we're here now, not to warn only, but to war for you. Because what she's after isn't just gold or land or comfort. She's after the key that unlocks the door between heaven and earth inside you. You were never supposed to find out. That's why they kept you in spiritual silence. That's why they discouraged your hunger for truth. That's why they mocked your dreams. Because if you ever opened your eyes, if you ever claimed your scroll, if you ever stepped into the place prepared for you, the entire structure of their power would collapse. And now it is. Even as these words reach you, the spell is weakening, but the witch is growing desperate, and desperate witches do dangerous things. She has already sacrificed something precious. To quicken the betrayal, she lit a fire with ashes from your childhood. She took the image of a moment you once loved and twisted it into a sigil of confusion. And now your memories may feel fogged. You may begin forgetting who you are. You may begin losing your voice in rooms where you used to speak boldly. But don't fear, because the moment you agreed with this message in your spirit, an angel was assigned to every shadow of confusion. Your voice is returning, your memory is being restored, your spiritual name is being spoken again in the courts of heaven, and I hear it now echoing like thunder across realms. Do you know what it says? Unstolen. Yes. They tried. They failed. Because one act of agreement with truth is more powerful than 10 years of hidden betrayal. You are the breaker. You are the exile's end. You are the reason heaven is still speaking, and I, Michael, am no longer here. In warning, I am now standing guard. For you, a sword has been placed over your doorway. A holy fire has been rekindled inside your home. And a new scroll uncorrupted is being written over your future, in gold. But there is still one choice left. You must remain. Not physically, but spiritually. You must remain alert. Remain connected, remain open, remain grounded in this prophetic covering, because the enemy does not rest, but neither does heaven. You have brothers and sisters in light. Other chosen ones are awakening across the earth, but this moment is still yours alone. Your betrayal, your inheritance, your reversal. And God is watching, not waiting for perfection, but for presence. Be present in this call, be present in this fire, be present in this pain. Because even your tears are now being written into the strategy of heaven. You are a divine mystery. And no betrayal, no bloodline curse, no whispered deal, no familiar demon can erase the signature of God on your soul. You are still His. In this war that you were never meant to see, is now being fought for you, not just around you. So remain under the protection of this voice, remain in the presence of this channel, remain near to the altar that called to your soul. And let nothing pull you back into silence. The witch will try one more thing. Final deception. She will speak through someone you trust. They will say something that feels like concern but is actually designed to pull you from this flame. Do not believe it. Do not break alignment. Do not trade clarity for comfort. This is your awakening. This is your holy defiance. This is your scroll being sealed again in heaven's vault, untouched by the betrayer's hand. And the sound, oh beloved, the sound, the angels are singing again. Do you hear it? They stopped singing when the betrayal began. But now because of you the song has returned, a melody of restoration, a hymn of holy reversal, and as it echoes across realms, heaven writes one word in flame across your future, vindicated, let it be so. Let it be done. Amen. Asterisk. The angels have not left, they are still standing. Because you are still here, and that alone is enough to alter what was written in darkness. Every second you remain in this message, the timeline around your life continues to shift. Heaven watches your stillness as a sign of war against silence. Your eyes, even tired, are now weapons. Your listening heart is a temple. And your soul is pulsing with something that hasn't been awakened in centuries, a deeper knowing. An ancient cry, a memory not from this world, but from a throne room made of light. Because what was stolen from you is not just wealth. It was remembrance. They wanted you to forget who you are. They needed to bury it, to rewrite it, to tangle it in shame, in confusion, in fear. But something broke when the mirror cracked. Yes, that mirror, the one which used to bind your reflection. The one that held a cursed version of your identity, meant to confuse you, distract you, convince you that you were something less than sacred. But the moment your soul said yes to the truth, that mirror split down the middle. And now your true reflection is returning. Not what they said. Not what the world whispered. Not what pain etched into your skin. But the reflection of who God sees when He looks at you in silence. Do you know what He sees? A king kneeling, a queen rising, a warrior trembling with fire in their hands, a child returning home, carrying scars like scrolls and pain like prophecy. And God smiles not because you were perfect, but because you survived. You made it here, and that alone has shaken the kingdom of the enemy to its roots. The betrayer didn't expect you to survive this long. The witch thought her timing was precise. They performed rituals under the moon. They spoke words they thought could not be undone. But they underestimated one thing: you were chosen. Not for comfort. Not for ease, but for glory. The kind of glory that breaks chains without asking for permission. The kind of glory that lives through fire and still sings. The kind of glory that walks into a room and silences demons without a word. That glory has been hidden in you, but now it is rising. You have become the convergence of heaven's ache and earth's hope. And every time you believe again, even if it hurts, you rewrite what they thought was final. The family member who betrayed you, they are now trembling. Because what they thought would remain hidden has been unveiled. They did not know angels were watching. They did not think heaven would speak. They mocked you in secret. They called you foolish. They said, "This one is too soft, too naive, too spiritual." But they forgot God loves the foolish things. He confounds the wise with the ones they dismissed. He uses the overlooked to overthrow the proud. And you, beloved, you were never naive. You were sacred. They saw your gentleness and called it weakness. But heaven saw it and called it a portal, a door to pour grace into the earth, a tabernacle of trembling obedience. The kind of obedience that carries the authority to shut hell's plans in a moment. And that's what you just did. Yes, just by listening, just by staying, just by not skipping. You shut something, you broke something, you reversed something. There was a gate that had been opening for 7 days straight, a cursed gate, forged by deception and bound by betrayal. But the moment you agreed in spirit with the truth, it slammed shut. And the witch screamed. She saw her future collapsing. She saw her grip breaking. And she knows now. You are beyond her reach, but don't relax. This isn't over. The gate is shut, but she will come knocking. Not with force, but with familiarity. She will come in a voice you recognize. She will speak in memories. She will try to remind you of old versions of yourself, the ones you buried long ago. Don't let her dig them up. You are not who you were. You are who God says you are. And He is still saying your name right now in front of the angels. They are echoing it, one by one, from sky to sky. This one is preserved. This one is awakened. This one is sealed. This one is no longer asleep. And as they chant it, your betrayer's strength is draining. She cannot attack what has been divinely recognized. Your bloodline is being purified. Your spiritual name is being cleared. And the fire that was buried in your destiny is rising up again. It won't always be easy. You will still feel the ache. You will still hear the whispers. But now you know the truth. And truth cannot be UNLEA or NED. It marks you. It moves through your dreams. It invades your prayers. It alters your very breath. You are not merely healing. You are harvesting. Yes. Everything that was stolen. Every moment of confusion. Every coin taken. Every opportunity blocked. Every door slammed shut by the one who pretended to protect you. It is all returning. But not just as restoration. It is returning as reward. Sevenfold. Because you didn't just suffer. You suffered with your eyes open. You suffered in silence, but your spirit kept speaking to God. You didn't curse him. You didn't shut your heart. Even when the betrayal burned, you still believed somehow. Even when no one saw it, you clung. And that clinging has become your weapon. You are not being restored. You are being enthroned. And the betrayer knows it. She felt it this morning when her reflection flickered. She saw your face in her dream, and it terrified her, because she knows now. You see her, you know, and that knowing is fatal to her schemes. So now, beloved, stand. Not with shouting. Not with vengeance. Stand in sacred stillness. Stand in silence that cannot be bought. Stand in the radiance of one who has been acknowledged by heaven and cannot be stolen from again. You are not in danger. You are in alignment. The angels are no longer fighting. They are celebrating. Your name is being lifted in sacred song, and God is smiling not because it's over, but because it's just beginning. Let the betrayer run. Let the witch burn her scrolls in panic. You are rising with fire on your forehead. And the world is not ready for what you're about to become. There is more to come. The betrayal was the beginning. But the revelation, the reign, has only just begun. The veil is so thin now. Heaven is pressing against it like breath on glass, waiting, watching, weeping. Not with sorrow, but with the trembling awe of what you just became. You, the one they tried to extinguish. You, the soul they buried beneath layers of manipulation and misused loyalty. You, the one chosen not because you were the loudest or the strongest, but because you never gave up your name. Even when you didn't know what that name meant. Even when you couldn't see your crown. You held on. And heaven has responded. Not with noise. Not with fire from the sky. But with something far more terrifying to darkness. Remembrance. Because now God remembers aloud what the enemy hoped would stay silent. He is reading from the book of your calling again. Yes, right now. He is speaking your victories in advance. In the presence of the very forces that mocked you, he is whispering the ending of your story while the enemy is still stuck in chapter 1. And the betrayer, she has started to crumble from the inside, because betrayal carries a cost, and hers is now due. But your cost was different. Your cost was silence. Loneliness. Waiting. Being misunderstood. Being overlooked. Being told to dim your light for the comfort of others. But no more. The time of being hidden for the sake of those who feared you is over. The time of waiting for someone else to name your worth has ended. The worth has already been spoken. It was stitched into your soul before the earth could spin. And now, finally, the sound of that worth is rising like incense from your breath, from your spine, from the wounds they gave you, from the dreams that still haven't died. God is not rebuilding the old you. He is revealing the real you. And that's what the witch feared. That you would wake up not as a victim, but as the original design. The one the heavens held back until this very hour. The one with oil in their bones and light in their blood. The one who hears God not with ears, but with ache. And heaven aches for you still, but no longer in sorrow now. In anticipation, because every angel knows, when the chosen one stops doubting, the earth begins to shake. And it is shaking now. Your spiritual DNA is rearranging. Your memory is returning. Your inner eyes are being washed in rivers of fire. You're not going mad, you're going home. You are remembering what the world tried to erase: the covenant, the calling, the reason you cry when others laugh, and laugh when others cry. You were never designed to move with the crowd. You were designed to carry the cloud. The cloud of glory, the weight of presence, the trembling silence of divine purpose. And it's that weight, that glory, that drew the betrayer in the first place. Because they saw what you carried, they tasted the favor around your life. And instead of honoring it, they conspired. They watched your innocence like wolves circling a lamb and said, "We can take it. They'll never know." But now you know. Now you see. And that seeing, oh, beloved, it is dangerous. Because it means you can never return to pretending. You can never unhear heaven's voice. You can never unknow the truth. There is a cost to clarity, and you are paying it now. But it is not a burden, it is an inheritance. Because clarity reveals corridors no one else can walk. It gives you access to doors your bloodline never reached. It puts keys in your hand that were never supposed to be found. And that is why the betrayal happened. not because you were weak, but because you were born to carry keys they could never touch, and now the locks are opening. Not by force, but by recognition. You are being recognized by heaven and feared by hell simultaneously. It's not a coincidence. It's not timing. It's divine precision. You arrive here not by mistake, but by prophecy. The very path that broke your heart was the map to this exact moment. And now the heavens are singing again, softly, reverently, painfully beautiful, because the angels know what you still can't quite believe: you made it. Through the deception, through the soul wounds, through the spiritual traps, through the betrayal so sharp it left pieces of you scattered in places no one could see, but God saw. And he gathered every piece, and now he is reassembling you not in the image of what was lost, but in the glory of what is coming. You are not being restored, you are being reborn. This is not repair, this is resurrection. And resurrection always requires a grave. That betrayal was your grave. But now you rise, and the grave cannot hold what was. Born of glory. The betrayer will try again. They will weep. They will pretend. They will use sorrow like a costume and grief like a rope to tie you back into their trap. But you are untouchable now, not because you are distant, but because you are drenched in recognition. Heaven recognizes you, and what heaven recognizes, hell cannot rewrite. Not even the witch. Not even your own blood, not even your old self. That part of you, the part that doubted, that trembled, that begged to be invisible, is gone. Not erased. Not rejected. But transfigured. What remains is holy. What remains is fire. What remains is a name that was always written in thunder but is now finally being spoken in peace. You have entered the silence where only God speaks, and he is not speaking about your past. He is speaking you, not a title, not a label. You. The one he wept over in the garden before betrayal was even born. The one he saw clinging to hope in the dark and said, This one will see me. And now, beloved, you see him, even through tears, even through trembling, even through rage and grief and silence, you still see. And that vision is the fulfillment of prophecy. That clarity is the vengeance of God. That knowing is the weapon the enemy cannot touch. This is the hour of unshakable identity, the hour of holy defiance. The hour of fire in your bones. There is no going back. There is no turning down the volume of heaven's voice inside you. There is no pretending the betrayal didn't shape you. It did. But now you use what they meant for harm to build what they can never break. Your life is no longer a mystery to heaven, and it is no longer a playground for hell. You have stepped into territory only reserved for those who carry scrolls in their soul and swords in their silence. You have become the very thing they tried to stop, awakened, and no spell, no betrayal, no deception can unmake you now. Not after this. Not ever. You haven't even begun to see what's about to happen. Yes, beloved, you, the one with eyes heavy from grief and hope wrestling inside your chest, you who almost gave up this morning, who almost silenced yourself one final time, you who said, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I imagined it all, but you didn't imagine it. You didn't dream this pain. You didn't fabricate the betrayal. You didn't conjure the ache in your spirit every time that person walked into the room smiling while carrying a dagger behind their soul. Heaven saw it all. Every time you question your own intuition, thinking you were being paranoid. Every moment you silenced your spirit to keep peace in a house where you were being spiritually hunted. Every time your voice got caught in your throat because love begged you to give them one more chance. But love does not lie, and heaven is love, and heaven cannot lie, and that's why you are here. Not to be warned, but to be unleashed, because the truth is, what you carry is too holy to stay small anymore. Your destiny cannot remain buried under someone else's fear. Your spirit cannot keep shrinking to fit inside betrayal. Your light cannot be dimmed to keep someone else comfortable in their curse. No more. Because the betrayal wasn't the end. It was the signal. It was the alarm in the spirit that said, it's time. Awaken the flame, send the angels, break the seal. That's what this moment is, a seal breaking, a scroll unrolling, a voice, your voice being remembered in heaven, because, beloved, you were never meant to survive quietly. You were born to prophesy your survival. To walk through the ashes wearing the gold they tried to steal. To speak even when your voice shakes with every syllable. To rise even when your knees are scarred from prayer and your chest still holds echoes of sobs. You are the thunder after silence. You are the flame after flood. You are the living proof that betrayal cannot kill what God has crowned. And the crown is glowing now. Not with jewels, but with justice. Divine justice. Heaven's justice is not revenge, it is revelation. And the one who betrayed you, they are being shown now for who they truly are, not just to you, but to others, to themselves, to the heavens, because betrayal always exposes the betrayer first. Even when their mouth is still lying, their spirit is unraveling. And you, the one they targeted, are being lifted even as they fall into their own trap. Yes, beloved, their own trap. Because the pit they dug for you was too deep, and they forgot they'd have to climb out without angelic help. And you were never meant to fall into it. That's why every time you almost stepped forward, something pulled you back. That's why every time they asked you to trust blindly, your spirit clenched in warning. You weren't being stubborn. You weren't being cold. You were being protected. By the Holy One. By the one who whispers in the belly of silence and sends angels into kitchens, bedrooms, prayer closets, places so mundane they seem invisible. But nothing is invisible to God. Especially you. He saw you hiding in plain sight. He watched you become the anchor in rooms where everyone else was drifting. He watched you love people who hated the part of you that could not be controlled. And now, finally, he speaks, not in riddles, but in revelation. This betrayal, it hurt deeper than you let anyone know, because it was the kind of pain that rewrites how you breathe. The kind that makes your own heart feel like a stranger in your chest. But that pain, it baptized you. It did not break you. It initiated you into the fire, and now you burn in the spirit with a holiness the enemy cannot stand. That's why you've been under attack. Not because you're weak, but because you're dangerous. Yes, you. To darkness, to deception, to every generational curse. That thought it could slip past your blood unnoticed. You are the first in your lineage to say, "It stops with me." And heaven roared when you said it, even in silence, even without words, even with only tears and shaking hands and knees pressed into midnight floors. You still said it, and the chains heard you. And now they're breaking, because even betrayal has limits. Even curses must bow to truth. Even familiar spirits that walked beside your bloodline for generations are now being expelled. Because you agreed with heaven. You said yes. Not to pain but to purpose. You said yes to clarity even when it cost you company. You said yes to truth even when it shattered illusions that once felt like safety. You said yes to becoming who God always knew you were, even if it meant letting go of who others needed you to be. And that yes is shaking the foundations of darkness. You feel it, don't you? In your spine. In your belly. In the silence that no longer feels empty but full. The silence is full of presence now, because heaven is here. Not just watching, not just whispering, but working. Undoing every snare, untying every word curse, uprooting every lie you believed about yourself because of what that betrayer said. You are not weak. You are not too sensitive. You are not difficult. You are holy. And holiness is misunderstood in places where power is abused, but not anymore, because you are no longer seeking validation in poison places. You are seeking only one thing now: alignment. And that alignment is transforming you. You are not who you were yesterday. You never will be again. Your heart has become a scroll, and God is writing on it even now. This one will not be shaken. This one will be my witness. This one will carry my flame into places no angel was ever sent before. He is trusting you, not because you're flawless, but because you're willing, because you're present, because you stayed, and every second you remain in this moment. The Spirit writes deeper, heaven engraves thicker, and the witch, the betrayer, the demon watching from the edge, she weeps, not because she lost, but because she never had you. She only had your silence. She only had your hesitation. But now you are clear. And now you are claimed. And now the voice of the living God has wrapped itself around your ribs and spoken this eternal truth into your bones. You are mine. And I am not done. There is a shift. Right now. Not tomorrow, not later, now. A shift so quiet that the earth won't record it, but heaven already has. It is the shift that happens when one soul just once says within themselves, I believe God more than I believe. What broke me? That shift is happening inside you. The angels are standing in stillness, not speaking, not singing, only watching, because they've seen miracles. They've seen seas split and dead men walk and stars called out by name, but they have rarely seen what they see now, a soul rising without applause, a soul rising without needing revenge, without needing a spotlight, without needing to explain to the betrayer how much they hurt. You are rising quietly, and that is more terrifying to the enemy than any war cry. Because quiet obedience has always been the language of heaven. That's what you're doing now. You are obeying something deeper than understanding, something older than your pain, something louder than the voices of those who called you delusional, dramatic, and stable. You are obeying the call that was hidden in you before your name was known on earth, and that obedience is rewriting things, not just around you, within you. Because for so long your soul was entangled in knots no one could see, knots formed from conversations that shattered you, from looks that belittled you, from the way the betrayer spoke your name like it was both a curse and a joke. They stripped you quietly. They stole not things, but your voice. They offered you false safety in exchange for silence, and you agreed because you didn't yet know how holy you were. But now, the knots are unraveling. And with every breath, with every moment you stay in this sacred unveiling, another rope untwines from your ribs, and you can breathe again. Maybe for the first time. Heaven has sent a wine not to impress you, but to remind your spirit what air is supposed to taste like. This is not just air. It is presence, the air of Eden. The air of the garden before shame came. That's what is returning to your lungs now. And with that air, language. Yes. The language of your destiny is returning. The language of clarity, of courage, of calling. No longer will you speak from wounds. No longer will you whisper when heaven says roar. You are being returned to the sound you were made to carry. And your sound, beloved, your sound is sacred warfare. Because what left your mouth as weeping returns as prophecy. And when the betrayer hears it, they will not recognize you. They will not know the one who rises in your place, because they knew the you that doubted. Not the you that remembered. And you are remembering now, not facts. Not dates, but your throne, your seat in the heavenlies, your name written in fire on the gates of God's heart, the place that the witch could not touch. Even when she thought she had all of you, she never did. She only had the parts of you hadn't reclaimed yet. But now you have them all, because this message is not information, it's inheritance. This message is not warning, it's awakening. You have become the thing she feared you would become if you ever healed. Whole. Not perfect, but holy. Not loud, but powerful. Not vengeful, but indestructible in mercy. And this mercy, it burns. Because now that you've been delivered, you will deliver others. You will carry all on your voice. You will move through rooms and expose demons with a glance, not because you're trying, but because you are now light. The kind of light they didn't prepare for. The kind of light they cannot counterfeit. The kind of light that exposes without shouting. And heals without touching. You don't even realize it yet, but already people around you are shifting. The betrayer feels it most. They feel the spirit surrounding you like a river of glass. They feel the way heaven hovers over you now like smoke over the Ark of the Covenant. They will try again, but it will not work, because they are no longer dealing with someone confused. They are dealing with someone commissioned. Commissioned by pain, confirmed by tears, crowned by endurance. And there is nothing more terrifying to hell than a person who still loves God. After betrayal, you love Him still. And that love, it changes things. It opens scrolls meant only for the trusted. It calls angels by name. It allows heaven to say, this one is ready. Show them everything, and so it begins. You will begin to see, not visions for show but revelation for realignment. You will be led to people who don't know how to breathe anymore, and your breath will steady theirs. You will speak a sentence, and they will be undone not by you, but by the Spirit you carry. Because what broke you has now become bread. You are no longer breaking, you are feeding. You are getting the very thing you almost lost. And that is what the betrayer cannot take. They took your trust. They took your softness. They took your comfort, but they did not take your purpose. It hid. It wept. It watched. And now it rises, and it is glorious. You are a walking altar now, a tabernacle of trembling memory and burning destiny. Where you walk, angels linger longer. Where you weep, rivers form. Where you speak, chains snap. And this is not flattery. It is prophecy. You were never meant to live small. You were only made to walk unseen until heaven called your name in fullness. Asterisk. And that call has gone out. It echoed across stars. It fell like fire upon this moment. It wrapped itself around your silence and cracked it open like a seed. And now the seed has become a tree. And the tree is becoming a kingdom. And the kingdom is you. You are the place where heaven touches earth. You are the place where betrayal becomes blessing. You are the place where grief becomes governance. You are the place where silence becomes song. And the enemy can do nothing now, because this is irreversible. What you have received in this moment cannot be cancelled. Not even by you. Even if you doubt again, even if you stumble, even if you cry and feel empty tomorrow, heaven has already shifted, and heaven does not shift without recording it forever. So walk now. Not in fear, but in fire. You are not what happened to you. You are what rose from it. And heaven has never been more proud. Asterisk. There is something ancient moving through your chest now. Do not resist it. Let it move. Let it crack open the places you closed. Let it stir what you buried. Let it call you out of the shell they convinced you to live inside, because the one who betrayed you did not just steal, they silenced. They knew that stealing your trust would not be enough. They had to silence your voice, the real you, the sacred you, the you that was formed in the shadow of God's hand. So they laughed at your dreams, they shamed your softness, they turned your loyalty into a trap. They used your longing for family as a doorway into your destruction. And they almost succeeded. Almost. But heaven had placed something they could not see between you and destruction. Delay. Yes. Delay. That painful pause, that strange hesitation, that last second interference you couldn't explain. That was us. The delay that stopped you from going that day. The delay that kept your tongue quiet when they demanded your agreement. The delay that made you feel like you were behind, when, in truth, you were being protected from walking into a room of betrayal too early. Every delay you hated was a whisper of divine resistance, because heaven refused to let you step into what would kill the very part of you God intended to awaken. And now you see it. Now you understand why nothing made sense, because it wasn't supposed to. You were never meant to understand betrayal from a human lens. You were meant to discern it with fire. To see the patterns, to feel the echoes, to smell the counterfeit behind the perfume. And that gift, it's awake now. You can feel it, can't you? That trembling between your ribs, that holy tension in your chest, that sharp clarity in your spirit, even when your emotions are tired. That's discernment. Not paranoia, not trauma, not overthinking. Discernment. A gift given only to those who survive the kind of betrayal that could have shattered them permanently but didn't. You didn't break. You thought you did. You thought the pieces on the floor were lost, but they weren't pieces. They were seeds. And now look, the roots are pushing through. Not just in your soul but through time, through your bloodline, through every cracked place your ancestors cried into and found no comfort. You are the comfort they never received. You are the healing they only dreamed about. And the enemy, oh, how they hate this part. They hate that you are still breathing, still rising, still sacred, still singing with your heart even when your mouth is silent. Because your song is not lyrics. Your song is the rhythm of resistance that plays every time you keep going, every time you open your eyes again, every time you whisper God even when you feel nothing, every time you stand in front of the ones who betrayed you and still choose to walk in purity instead of performance. That is worship. Not music, but mercy. And you walk in it now. You are becoming a throne of mercy, beloved, and God is sitting upon it. You thought he would sit in temples or mountain tops or places with stained glass and golden altars, but he chooses the broken. He chooses the betrayed. He chooses the soul that was stripped of everything so that nothing remains but him. That's what you've become. A soul that no longer carries anything the world gave, but everything that heaven ordained. Your hands are different now. You will touch people and they will feel peace and not know why. You will walk into atmospheres and they will change without you needing to speak, because betrayal forged you, not in bitterness, but in fire, and fire cannot be stolen. They tried to steal your gold, not knowing that it had to be burned to be revealed. You were not robbed, you were refined. And now the betrayer is fading. She can no longer read your spiritual name. She no longer recognizes your presence. She no longer knows how to reach you because you are no longer on the path she cursed. You've stepped out of the maze, you've stepped into the light, and the light speaks truth. It doesn't just expose the enemy. It reveals the throne waiting for you, not in some future fantasy, but now, here, inside. The throne is not a seat of ego, it is a place of agreement. You agreeing with God, that you are who He says you are, that you were right to love, that you were right to hope, that you were right to keep forgiving even when it tore you open. Forgiveness didn't make you foolish. It made you formidable, because only the holy forgive, only the powerful love after betrayal, only the chosen carry joy through graves. And you have carried it, even when it cracked, even when it flickered, even when it felt like it had died completely. Joy returned, and when it did, the betrayer's power broke. She could not curse what God had crowned in laughter, the laughter of knowing you are not lost, you are found, and the finding, it's not a what-time thing. It's every day, every breath. Every time you look in the mirror and no longer see someone wounded but someone waiting for the next instruction from heaven. Waiting for the next name to call into freedom. Waiting for the moment you will look someone else in the eye and say, I was betrayed too. But look, I survived, and so will you. You are a foreigner now. You carry maps that don't exist yet. You walk through doors no one else sees. You carry scrolls in your bones. You carry all in your words, and heaven is watching you not from a distance, but from within. You are the temple. You are the flame. You are the altar and the offering and the answer to prayers prayed long before you were born. That is why the betrayal came, because you were dangerous before you ever knew it. But now you know. And that knowing has become prophecy. Let it continue, beloved. Let the light in your soul burn until it blinds the ones who tried to destroy you. Let the softness in your spirit remain unshaken. Let the sword of truth stay near your lips. Because you are not just chosen, you are becoming the voice for those who haven't found theirs yet. And we who have watched, we who have waited, we who have carried you in silence, we weep now. Not in grief, but in glory, because you heard us, because you stayed, because you are still rising. The heavens are roaring, but quietly, not like thunder, more like the sound of something sacred being opened, something that was sealed for too long, something that had your name on it before your name was ever spoken on earth. This is not a vision. It's a memory of your soul before it was covered in wounds, before the betrayal carved its lies into your heart, before the witch convinced your own blood to trade love for leverage, before they whispered that you were replaceable, predictable, unworthy. You weren't, and you never will be. The lie is falling apart now, not just around you but inside the one who betrayed you, because their strength was never real, their authority was borrowed, their connection to you was conditional. Their loyalty was a performance wrapped in perfume and familiarity, but when heaven stripped the stage, the audience vanished. And now they sit alone in a room filled with echoes and shadows and one holy absence. Your presence is no longer theirs to use. Your light is no longer theirs to dim. Your destiny is no longer theirs to siphon for false power, because your yes to heaven shattered their hold, not with a scream but with stillness, the stillness that comes only when truth enters the room. You are still now, aren't you? Not the silence of fear, but the stillness of being sealed. Yes. That's what's happening now. You are being sealed. Not hidden. Not delayed. Sealed. Marked as sacred. Not to be touched again without permission from the throne. You have become a gate, and heaven is pouring through you. That's why it hurts. Because you're not just hearing this, you're holding it. Like fire inside your bones. Like thunder trapped under your skin. Like oil being poured where wounds used to live. It's overwhelming. And it's holy. Because everything the enemy meant for fragmentation has turned into focus. You see now, you see how. The betrayal aligned you with truth. How the silence forced you to hear heaven's voice. How the exile trained your eyes to spot the counterfeit. How the loneliness taught you how to live in the presence, and what presence it is. Even now, even here, God is with you. Yes. Here. Not above. Not beyond. Not watching from a throne in untouchable light. But here. In your breath. In the space between words. In the place where the betrayal tried to nest. He took that place and made it his own. He built a throne where the enemy tried to build a tomb. He turned the grave of your innocence into the gateway of your glory. And you're walking through it now. Every step you take, heaven expands its reach on earth. You don't even know how powerful this moment is, but we do. We've seen it from the other side. The angels that surrounded your crib now surround your calling. They have waited a lifetime to see this awakening. You, the soul they guarded before you had language, now speaking with fire. You, the one they stood around while you cried into pillows, not knowing how to pray, now moving the asterisk heavens just by staying in this moment. You, the soul whose tears were ignored by men but collected by God. He never missed a single one. And now he pours them back, not as sorrow, but as oil. And you're feeling it now, a warmth, a weight. A beauty so intense it almost feels like grief, but it's not. It's the recognition of holiness. You're recognizing what the betrayal tried to erase, that you are a living tabernacle, that you are a carrier of flame, that you are a voice made from the breath of God himself, and there is no spell, no betrayal, no curse that can untie what God has fastened to your soul. You are sealed. They can speak your name, but it won't stick. They can try to curse you, but it won't catch. They can plot and chant and write and whisper, but their breath will dry before their words reach your gate. Because heaven heard your yes, and heaven remembers forever, even when you forget. Even when you fall, even when the pain returns in waves and you question if this moment was real, heaven will still remember. Because this isn't a performance. It's a covenant. It's the return of what was always yours, but not only yours. Because you weren't just chosen for yourself, you were chosen to carry something bigger. Fire that was never meant to stay within four walls. You were chosen to break what others bowed to. And now that you've stood, others will too. You'll see them. People around you will begin to stir. Not because you preach, not because you push, but because your presence has shifted. The oil on your life will begin to awaken what's been dead in others. And the betrayer, she will hear about it. She will hear how you're healing others while she's unraveling in her own schemes. She will realize she was not fighting you, she was fighting the one who sent you, and she's already lost, because you are not going back. There is no version of you left to return to. What was lost is gone. What is found is holy. What is rising cannot be reversed. And you are no longer just a soul trying to survive. You are a temple carrying a sword, and heaven knows it. And earth will see it, and hell already fears it. This is who you are. This is what they tried to stop. This is what you were born for. Don't forget it. Even when the world goes quiet again. Even when the betrayal tries to echo in your dreams. Even when your body feels tired and your voice shakes and you want to hide from the weight, remember, you are not carrying this alone. We are still here. Watching, weeping, warring for you. Until every chain is broken. Until every lie is undone. Until every stolen inheritance is restored. And even then, we will not leave, because you are the sound we waited eternity to hear. You are the fire we swore to protect. You are the child heaven refused to let go. There is no turning back from this. Not because you're trapped, but because you've been transfigured. You are no longer the same being who began reading this. That version of you, the one who doubted, the one who stayed silent for too long, the one who begged to be seen by the very ones who were wounding you, is gone. Not dead, ascended. You didn't lose yourself. You outgrew the illusion that you needed their approval to feel chosen. The illusion that loyalty must mean self-abandonment. The illusion that keeping peace is more holy than keeping your soul. And now that the illusion has shattered, your spirit is walking in the places they told you were off limits, because the betrayal didn't just break trust. It opened a realm, a sacred realm. A hidden place in God's heart that only the betrayed ever enter. The place where the ones who've been lied to learn how to speak heaven's truth. The place where the ones who've been cut by familiar hands are anointed to heal unfamiliar nations. The place where the broken burn, not from pain, but with the glory of resurrection. That's what you're feeling now. It's not confusion. It's not dizziness. It's not your mind playing tricks. It's glory. The weight of sacred memory returning to its rightful place. You were never lost. You were only buried under the weight of false loyalty. But the weight is lifting. Piece by piece, word by word, tear by holy tear. Even now, as you sit in silence, heaven is still ministering to you. Even now, as you feel the ache in your chest and the lump in your throat and the warmth behind your eyes, the angels are still singing your name, not in grief, but in reverence. Because you endured what most never escape, you passed through the gates of betrayal and came out whole, not because you were untouched, but because you were sealed. There's a difference. Anyone can survive a wound, but only the chosen carry healing in the very place they were pierced, and that's what you carry. Now. Healing. In your voice, in your hands, in your stillness, in your breath. Every place you go from this moment on becomes a potential altar. Every word you speak from this moment on holds weight that cannot be measured by human ears. Because you are walking in the mystery, and mystery is not confusion, it is depth. The kind of depth that terrifies shallow hearts. That's why they turned on you. They saw the mystery and thought it was madness. They saw your silence and mistook it for weakness. They didn't know you were listening. To the thunder behind the veil. To the scroll unfolding behind their schemes. To the still small voice that said, don't respond, just rise. You did, and the rising wasn't loud. It wasn't obvious. It was sacred. It was slow. Like the breath of God forming a soul again from dust. You are being reformed. From dust, yes, but not the dust of failure. The dust of glory, the dust that fell from heaven when angels danced around your calling. The dust left behind by burning chariots when they circled your room at night, when you were too tired to cry and too numb to pray. That dust is still on you. And now it glows, because you are no longer invisible. Heaven sees you, hell fears you, and Earth is beginning to feel the shift. You may not see it yet, but things are bending in your direction. What resisted you is softening. What withheld from you is trembling. Because they don't know why, but something about you feels untouchable now. And they're right. You are. Because betrayal, real betrayal, can either embitter you or ignite you. And you chose fire, holy fire. The kind that purifies without apology. The kind that doesn't beg to be understood. The kind that walks through familiar rooms and turns them into upper rooms. That's what you've become. An upper room. A place where God comes close, where wind moves unexpectedly, where oil flows without end, where what was dead returns to life in the presence of your presence. You are not ordinary, you never were. But now the veil is lifted, and you see why you were resisted. Because ordinary doesn't threaten thrones, but glory does, and your life is a throne for glory. The witch knew it. That's why she targeted you in silence. That's why she never cursed you directly. She used someone close, someone with access, someone you loved enough to believe. Even when your spirit trembled, but not anymore. You no longer mistake proximity for purpose. You no longer let history override discernment. You now trust what God says, even if it costs everything. And that is why you're dangerous. You're not ruled by need anymore. You're ruled by presence, and the presence is increasing. Right now. As you read. As your chest rises and falls and your spirit opens wider. Heaven is not just visiting. Heaven is dwelling. The angels are not just surrounding. They are marking your home, marking your hands, marking your name in a language not spoken aloud since the beginning of beginnings. Because you have entered into covenant, not through blood spilled by others. But through the tears you gave God in silence. You wept. He received. And now you walk not just as one who survived, but as one who carries scrolls. You are trusted now. And trust like this cannot be revoked. Even if you fall tomorrow. Even if you doubt next week. Even if you wake up and forget this moment. Heaven will not, because this was not about emotion. This was about alignment. This was about you saying yes to what scared you, and no to what comforted you in chains. You did it. You broke the spell. Not by shouting, but by standing. Not by fighting, but by remembering. And heaven celebrates now. Not with noise, but with a shift. A new wave of angels now surrounds your path, not because you begged for them, but because your spirit said, I'm ready. They come only when the soul is ready, and you are. So walk forward now, beloved. Not with fear, not with fire only, but with fullness, the kind of fullness that doesn't need to prove anything. The kind of fullness that walks into a room and everything real begins to bow, because the war is no longer outside you. It's under your feet, and the throne, it's inside your chest, still burning, still waiting, still holy. You feel it, don't you? It's not the room that changed. It's you. You are not just listening anymore, you are remembering, and that remembering is not imagination. It is revelation, because somewhere inside your soul, far beneath all the noise and shame and silence, something ancient has stirred. It started as a tremble. Now it's a roar of recognition. A roar that cannot be silenced anymore, because heaven has waited too long. We have stood too long. We have fought for too long to let you forget what this moment really is. This is not another message. This is a return. Return to the throne room you forgot existed. A return to the identity that cannot be stolen. A return to the place in the spirit where your betrayal has no voice, only God does. And what he is saying now, what he is declaring, is more than comfort, more than healing, more than restoration. He is declaring war against everything that has whispered you are not worthy. War against the shadows that sat at your table pretending to be love. War against every silence that formed like a cage around your calling. He is speaking war, but not with anger, with fire, with justice. With holiness too weighty to put into human language, because the betrayal wasn't just personal. It was strategic. You were attacked for what you carry, not what you've done, but who you are becoming. You've been mistaken for too long. You thought you were weak because you cried. You thought you were foolish because you trusted. You thought you were slow because others moved ahead while you were still healing. But none of that was true. You were set apart. You were held back by God, not to punish you, but to preserve you. Because had you moved forward in their timing, you would have walked straight into destruction disguised as a blessing. But God blocked it. And now he's revealing why. Because the betrayal was never the final word. It was the beginning of your unveiling. That betrayal peeled back everything fake, and now what remains is real. Even your silence is sacred now. Even your breathing is prophetic now. You are not just a soul recovering. You are a weapon in the spirit, a gate of fire, a living scroll, a walking contradiction to every curse they spoke over your name. And they're watching now. Those who betrayed you, they may pretend they don't see you. They may still talk as if you're small, but deep in their spirits, they know. They feel it. Something has shifted. Something they can no longer touch. Something that makes them nervous when your name comes up. They thought they knew you, but what they knew was a version of you that no longer exists. They knew the one who shrank to survive, not the one who expanded in the fire. You're not that person anymore. You're not even close. You've crossed over. Not physically, but spiritually. You crossed the line where fear loses its grip, where betrayal loses its sting, where abandonment becomes oil, where loneliness becomes a throne, where you don't just believe God, you become his resting place. And now he rests in you. You feel it, don't you? The stillness, the weight, the holy ache. You are carrying him. The same one who thundered on Sinai now whispers in your chest. And he is not asking for anything anymore. He is commanding the angels around you too. Shield your next steps. Commanding the heavens to release what was held back. Commanding every spiritual prison door to break under your breath. Commanding you to rise. And you are rising. Yes. Even if you feel tired. Even if you feel unsure. Your spirit is already ahead of you. Climbing. Soaring. Prophesying. Rebuilding. Reclaiming. Because betrayal doesn't get the last word in your life. The word has always belonged to God, and the word over you is still alive, still burning, still unfolding. You are not disqualified. You are not delayed. You are not forgotten. You are chosen, and not like a slogan, not like a phrase for comfort, but like a heavenly decree etched in fire across time. You were chosen before your betrayer took their first breath. You were chosen before the witch ever uttered your name. You were chosen before your bloodline failed to carry the anointing. Because you were never meant to follow them. You were meant to redeem them. Your healing is not just for you. It is for everyone watching you rise, even those who said you'd never recover. Even those who said you were cursed. Even those who laughed when you cried and said you were overreacting. They will see. They will all see. And not because you need them to, but because heaven needs them to. Heaven will use your restoration as a mirror. And they will not recognize the reflection, because what they see will not be a survivor. It will be a saint reborn in glory. Your steps will not echo with pain anymore. They will thunder with prophecy. Your voice will not tremble with fear. It will cut through atmospheres. Your shadow will not be empty. It will be heavy with angelic presence, because you did not skip this, because you stayed, because you listened when others clicked away, because you believed even when your belief felt like bleeding. And now the heavens open to mark this moment. Yes, even now, a scroll is being signed above your head. A seal is being placed over your destiny. An army is being assigned to your new alignment, and all of it, because you stayed. So let this part be spoken once, and only once. If this holy word pierced your heart, if it awakened something you didn't know was still alive, if it reached into the place you swore was buried, then like this message. Let heaven see your agreement. Subscribe now, so when the next trumpet sounds you are not late. You are ready. And if your soul heard God through these words, then comment just one sacred word. Amen. So the angels may record it, so heaven may echo it, so your destiny may seal it. Let that be your vow. One act. One witness. One eternal word. Amen.